noon hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Friday, everybody. Let's get it. Hope you're all having a tremendous day, kicking off your weekend. Folks, enjoy your Saturday tomorrow because it will be the last Saturday in which you will not have a Utah BYU or Utah State game for the next 3.5 months. So get your yard work done, clean out the garage, whatever little honeydew that you've been putting off all summer, you better make sure you get it done tomorrow and over the weekend because your weekends after that are all booked up.
Good. I'm ready for it. We're all ready for it.
We are ready for it.
It changes my work schedule. It definitely changes your work schedule, and I'm excited for it.
I could not be more fired up. Have you started working on your boards?
Yeah.
Week one?
Yeah, I have.
I started.
I've got my BYU boards all put together.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. I've got the two depths, and I'm kind of ready to rock and roll on those things.
Yeah, I cannot wait, man. I am so fired up, and I started. I opened up all my files this morning and started punching stuff in.
It's a little overwhelming.
Oh yeah, especially that first week.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, but it is nice. I pulled up those old boards, so you gave me the overall board format. So some of the starters remain, but you start clicking out a lot of numbers, and you're like, well, gonna miss Tyler Batty.
Yeah.
Oh, gonna miss Blake Mangelson. Oh, gonna miss John Nelson. And, gonna miss Connor Pay. Gonna miss Caleb Etienne. Gonna miss Keim. And you're like, okay.
Oh, boy.
But then it's funny because then you sit there and you have to reaffirm to yourself, wait a second, it's all optimism.
Yeah.
And, I look at Utah State, Utah, and BYU, and I put out optimistic stuff a lot this time of year. I like to fuel the college football fan base with optimism because it's okay to be optimistic. Whether you're a Utah State fan or you're a Utah fan or you're a BYU fan, it's okay. Dig for the optimism. I do. I sit there and look at the optimism, and I'm like, all right, here you go. Yeah, it's a true freshman quarterback, but it's a high-profile quarterback. This morning I was like, when's the last time Aaron Roderick let me down with quarterback play?
Doesn't happen.
It's been a long time. I can't even remember a time where I was like, oh, that quarterback looks unprepared and out of sorts. Even when Retzlaff stepped in when Slovis got injured, those final 4 games, I know he went 0-4, but you saw moments like, oh, okay, there's some things to be excited about. And then Retzlaff goes on to 11-win season the next season. So it's fine. Be optimistic. With Utah, I'm optimistic with Utah. They've been snake bit the last 2 years. There's a reason that this team has underperformed. They've been snake bit. It's time for them to have a magical season of good health and good luck. With Utah State, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to be like, oh, geez, what is going on in Logan? I'm optimistic. Like, anytime Bronco Mendenhall steps in and forces a group of guys to work hard, even though there are 87 new faces that are trying to work hard together, they're going to come together. You galvanize, and you either survive and thrive for each other, or Bronco gets rid of you or finds a way to bury you.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic that these guys are going to come out kind of reformed, reshaped, and committed. Plus, they've got a quarterback that I think is going to meld with an offensive coordinator. And so I come into this, Scotty, I'm just full of optimism. Until otherwise proven, I'm full of optimism.
I would love to see a big 3-0 weekend. Utah, dump truck, and UCLA. We know BYU is going to do that to Portland State, and Utah State knocking off UTEP at home, and us hopping on the air on Sunday morning or Monday morning and just going and saying WWW.
Yeah.
Because that would it's so big for Utah to get that week 1 win. So big. And UCLA's thinking about the same thing. Like, we got to beat Utah. That is such a critical game for the turnaround of that 5-7 year, just to put Utah fans' minds at rest. If they see Devin Dampier go slice and dice a defense, and that defense plays the way that it should, and they go out of the Rose Bowl and they win by a couple touchdowns, people are like, bam, we're back, baby. But if that offense struggles and puts that defense in bad situations and they lose that game late, Utah fans are like, oh, boy, here we go again. Like, so much of Utah and what we expect of them rests, and maybe unfairly so, but rests with that one game. against UCLA.
Probably unfair to say, but it's accurate.
Yeah.
And I can't stress to people enough how important this is going to be for Utah. And I was going through UCLA's depth chart. A couple of familiar names on that depth chart now. You know, Mikey Matthews is on that.
Oh, I forgot about Mikey Matthews.
Mikey Matthews is on that UCLA roster. And there's been some rumbling of some talk. Like, Mikey's like, hey, you know, I'm on the right team, and this is how it's going to go down. And he's a confident receiver. And that was a tough one for Utah to lose. I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. That was a really tough one for Utah to lose. And I expect Mikey Matthews to be a beast.
Yeah.
And I expect Utah to circle him and his number and take him out of the game. Another familiar name is Anthony Woods.
Mm-hmm.
He's running back for the University of Utah, and now he's over there with UCLA. So familiar names, it's not like they're going to give up all this information. I mean, there's nothing Mikey Matthews can give up on the offensive side because that offense is buried and gone. There's nothing that Woods can give up on the offensive side. That offense is buried and gone. It's a new running backs coach included. So I don't feel any advantage. What I feel like is they'll sit in the locker room and they'll get their team hyped up because that's going to be a big game for them. But I fully expect Utah to show up full force. I expect them to bury UCLA.
Love to see it.
I expect them to overwhelm them in certain categories. Now, it's funny because with that optimism, I'm smarter than that. And Scotty, I do my work enough to know that there are places that I'm circling and I'm watching. And against UCLA, I just want to see what the bookend is. And if it's Cash, I want Cash to be great. If it's Henry Daly, I want him to be great. Because if he's great, I know I've got a very firm belief that Vakalehi is going to be really good and Fano is going to be really good. And it's like, okay, well, then just show me the bookend and what is the press and what is the rollout and what is the edge set presentation there for them. And can they run a solid even, or do they have to transition? Do they have to try to fill and mix and match, or can they get the production out of these guys? Well, I expect them to do that. You know, and I expect the same kinds of things out of BYU. You know, there are some real questions and concern on who's going to get the pressures off the outside for BYU. Is it going to be Logan Latui? Is it going to be Vilemai Pauhua? Is Bodie Schoonover going to take the next step? Or is it going to be some of these under-talked about and under-the-radar guys? Like for me, Scotty, I wouldn't be surprised at some point we see Hunter Clegg.
Mm.
And I don't know how many people are thinking of Hunter. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't get any playtime. There's a good chance he doesn't get any playtime. But for me, watching a kid come out of this state, out of a high school out of this state, with the hype and anticipation that he's had and the camp that I expect him to have, and then the coaches that I expect that are working with him, I expect a guy like Hunter Clegg to show up on the scene pretty quick. But, again, who knows? You know, I think he's a baller, and I'm hoping that he can press on the edge and maybe be that edge presence that BYU needs. But, I keep the optimism, but I'm also smart enough to know that there are holes. There are gaps.
So I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who's on a coaching staff who called me out of the blue and yesterday about some other things going on with another university that he has a lot of affection towards.
Yeah.
And so I was just, you're just looking to fill some time. And I'm like, how you looking, Coach? He's like, oh, bleep. I don't bleep and know. We won't bleep and know until Saturday. So they could be great. They could be bleepy. I don't know. But we'll figure. And it's like, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And, as much as it's kind of coach speak, like we think we know and we hope we know, but do we really know until the bullets start flying? Not really.
We don't. And you remember when Tyler Batty jumped on the scene as a freshman? Remember that Batty jumped on the scene as a freshman, came in, had a couple of sacks, and everybody's like, here it is. Now, he always set the standard on pressures and gap protections and all these other things. He never hit the mark with sacks.
No.
But he hit the mark on every other expectation. Mm-hmm. And those pressures were very impactful. Well, okay, who's the next Tyler Batty? Who is it? Is it Hunter Clegg? Could it potentially be Viliama Pauha? Because I've got high expectations for Pauha. I've been out there for a few of the observation periods that media's had, and he looks the part. He's built like a Mack truck. He's built like his dad was. And for those of you that don't know, his dad is Sione Pauha, and his dad had a very good NFL career.
Yes, he did.
And a very good career at the University of Utah. So I look at him, there's high expectations. Like, all right, so set the edge, recognize pass, go get the pressures, get yourself 6 to 8 sacks in the season, and set the standard. I hope that BYU can answer the call in the trench on both sides.
Yeah.
And I look at the guys coaching the trench. TJ Woods, how did he look at what he did to rebuild the BYU front last year.
Yeah.
That was the biggest question mark. If you were to ask me, all right, Hans, go back to those preseason predictions of 2024. They weren't real good, Scotty.
Nope.
I had them around that 500 mark. A game over or a game under was kind of like maybe, and they go on to 11 wins. Why? If I could narrow it down to one thing and say this is the biggest reason why, it was TJ Woods. And it was the combination of Braden Keim and Connor Pay and Caleb Etienne with the mix and match of Sonny Mocassini, Austin Leusa, Bruce Mitchell. Who saw that mix coming? Nobody.
Nope. Especially when you lost Etienne coming off the year that he had, and then you lose a second-round draft pick.
And Sui Matea.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, that line's going to be better?
Yeah, nobody thought it.
And the other question I would have, too, is linebackers. I didn't anticipate linebackers would be better than they were the year before.
Nobody thought it. But it was. And it left all of us with our mouth kind of open, and we were mouth breathers for a good
more so than usual.
Yeah, for a good 3 or 4 weeks until it was like, oh, this isn't going anywhere, and this is only getting better. And now we've got some energy and some excitement in what's going on in this state. It would be great out of the gates. UTEP, UCLA, Portland State, 3 wins, optimism abounds. Me, you, and Lloyd getting up early and recording optimism on a Sunday.
Yes.
That would be really nice. And at this point, I'm going into the season with high hopes and expectations. I've got Utah favored in that UCLA game.
Yeah, and Vegas does too, right? I want to say Vegas.
I haven't seen Vegas's numbers on it. I would assume that they do.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
I would assume Vegas does. But anyway, Scotty, just getting ready for college season. I've got high hopes, man.
I do too. Let's get it. All right, time for your starting lineup. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the EKSL Sports Zone.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go.
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's your starting lineup right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. There's a lot of people that have been clamoring for this for a long, long time. We wanted to even the playing field between the SEC, who had really done its best to try to, obviously they've got really good football teams, but they knew how to game the system better than anybody else to make sure that their conference champions and their teams got as many spots in the college football playoff as possible. And one of the ways in which they did that, they went to an 8-conference game schedule. Well, now they're going to 9. And if you're looking at this and thinking, okay, well, that's nice. What's the big deal? This is, I think, one of many, many steps that you're going to see over the next few years that's going to lead us to a homogenization of college football, where you will see this power conference that Kyle Whittingham has been talking about for so long, or, a combination of just 2 or 3 small, really massive power conferences, getting everybody kind of on the same page, everything preparing for when 2029, 30, 31 rolls around and this whole thing gets blown up and started from scratch, preparing an Alabama to playing 9 conference games every year, or LSU, who never would play anybody worth a darn in their non-conference schedule. Well, now they have to play 9 conference games, and it evens the playing field. I kind of was thinking that the Big 12 would go to 8, and, rightfully so, they stayed at 9, and it was the SEC that bumped up to their level, which I think was a smart thing to do.
So, a couple things. Be careful what you wish for here.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer. I want the SEC to cannibalize each other and feast off each other, but just understand that what the SEC is doing is setting themselves up to claim more TV revenue.
Correct.
More interest and more of their own product. So what does that mean for the Big 12? Well, it actually sucks because the Big 12 versus SEC games are already very limited. Here's your Big 12 SEC matchups that you've got, and they're very limited. Arizona State sees Mississippi State. Baylor sees Auburn. Kansas sees Missouri. And I think that that's the only Big 12 SEC matchups that are available this year, I think. Can you think of any others?
Not that I know of, no. I think that's it.
I think that's it. And if I'm missing one, I apologize. That's my bad. But I think it's ASU, Mississippi State, Baylor, Auburn, and Kansas, Missouri. So it's already very limited. Well, why does that matter? Because it gives the Big 12 an opportunity to flex its muscles. I actually think that the Big 12 should be 3-0 in those SEC matchups. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that that'll play out to be very good for the Big 12 when they're sitting there with their college football playoff selections. Hopefully they are 3-0, and hopefully one of them does well. They've all been off their game for years now.
And Auburn hasn't been great.
Nope.
Missouri's never great.
And Mississippi State is bottom of the barrel.
Oof, yeah.
So, you hope that the Big 12 can go 3-0, and then you hope one or two of them shows up mid-level SEC that it plays out. I think that those games are important for the Big 12, and I think that this is going to continue to just shrink it down and limit it. Now, here's the good news. As the SEC moves to a 9-game schedule, they are still enforcing that the SEC, one of the 3 non-conference games, is still a Power 4 opponent. So you would have thought that maybe if you're going to add a Power 4 game by going to 9, that you wouldn't insist that one of the 3 still be a Power 4.
Yeah.
But according to Sankey and the report coming out yesterday of moving to 9, Sankey is still very bullish on it being another Power 4 schedule. So maybe it doesn't affect the Big 12 and their ability to schedule an SEC opponent.
So these schools, some of these schools in the SEC just print money. Georgia, Alabama, LSU, they're flush with cash. But in this day and age of college football, you need to be generating as much revenue as possible. I think if there's somebody that this really hurts, it's your G5 schools. And I know you hate these games.
Yeah.
But Utah State goes to Alabama, and they make like $1.8, $1.9 million. Well, Alabama is like, well, we're going to go to 9 conference games. We're going to cut out some of those bye games. And, hey, 1.9 gets you a hell of a player in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And so they're looking at, like, what can we do to better spend our money? Well, we get a conference game, which we don't have to spend money for, and we can put that money towards our NIL funds and give those right back to those teams, or right back to those players. Whereas, a team like a G5 school who plays one of those games every year to try to put a little extra coin in their back pocket might get squeezed out.
Probably will.
Yeah.
My hope is that the SEC does away with these absolute no-brainers. You bring up Alabama. Alabama's got UL Monroe.
Yeah.
So they got Louisiana Monroe this year. They also have Eastern Illinois. So, cut one of those. Florida has Long Island. Florida can cut Long Island. Georgia has Austin Peay and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Georgia can cut one of those.
You only need one of those.
LSU has Southeast Louisiana and Western Kentucky. Well, they got Louisiana Tech, Southeast Louisiana, and Western Kentucky.
Oh, geez.
Got one of those. Oklahoma has Temple and Kent State. Ole Miss has Georgia State and the Citadel.
Oh, the Citadel.
South Carolina has Coastal Carolina and SC State, but not the SEC State, or not the SC State.
South Carolina State?
Yeah.
So not the Gamecocks.
Nope.
Whatever South
they
Carolina
are.
State is.
Tennessee has Eastern Texas Southern University and Mexico State, New Mexico State. Texas A&M has UTSA and Sanford. I'm not even throwing in the Utah State game.
Yeah.
Because their two actual opponents would be Notre Dame and Utah State. They've got UTSA and Sanford that are attached to those. Texas has Sam Houston and UTEP. So that's my hope. SEC, get rid of one of those and make your conference schedules a little bit more difficult with 9, and then keep the Power 5 opponent that you've had, and keep the Utah States of the world. Okay, if you want to keep, if Tennessee wants to keep the New Mexico States of the world, keep the New Mexico States of the world. And get rid of these UL Monroes and these SC States and the Citadels of the world. Get rid of those.
Sorry, Long Island, you're out.
Yeah, sorry, Long Island. Can't have you here at the Swamp this year.
Unless you bring some iced teas with you, you're out.
But you're right. That money meant a lot to those.
Yeah.
Those teams.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of schools that bank on that literally and figuratively to make budget.
So as you look at these schedules that I just went through, what makes the most sense? Does the most sense come from, all right, let's get rid of a group of 5. We'll keep the Long Islands. We'll get rid of the Utah States, and we'll still house the ACC, Big 10, and Big 12 opponents? Or is it, no, we'll keep our group of 5, we'll house our ACC, Big 10, Big 12s, and then we'll keep our mid-range?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. They'll have,
well, then that's good news.
Instead of playing 2 or 3 of G5 schools, they'll cut it down to 1, maybe 2, and then play 1 game against a
Power 4.
2 games against a Power 4.
Okay.
Which is what I would like to see.
Well, if the SEC wants to boost their revenues and ratings, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
Because I think that the Long Islands and the UL Monroes, and I think that the Citadels and the Samfords of the world and the Sam Houstons of the world, I think it's a no-watch. It's a no-win.
Nobody wants to watch that.
It's just trash.
Yeah.
So my hope was, when I saw this announcement yesterday, I went through these schedules, and I was like, my hope is they bust those out, keep the Utah States, keep the Mountain West Conferences, the new Pac-12s, like really go heavy on the new Pac-12s.
Yeah.
Because that'd be a boost for the new Pac-12.
It would.
If they could keep, and do not touch anything with the Big 12s.
No.
I want at least 4, if not 5 SEC opponents through the 16-team Big 12 every year, and it's low this year.
All right, Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Looking for the latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah, we've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, 12:38. It is a Friday. You got some high school games coming up tonight, but Farmageddon kicks off tomorrow at 10 a.m. Iowa State, Kansas State, and then next Saturday, a week from today, folks, it is on. College football here in the state of Utah. Utah against UCLA, BYU against Portland State, Utah State welcoming in UTEP. So off we go. This should be a lot of fun.
Well, Scotty, it's kind of funny. You get to this point of year, and we've talked a lot about these different teams and different coaches. We've also talked about who could be a dark horse, who's probably going to be at the back end of the conference. I asked Shehan Raja yesterday about Deion Sanders and Colorado. They continue to be a point of interest for me. I don't know what to make of it because they're losing such incredible talent, but how can you Okay, let me put it this way. What do you think of Deion Sanders at this point?
I think Deion Sanders is an incredible showman. I don't think he's a particularly great coach in terms of X's and O's, but he's put decent people around him that do that part for him. He understands his job isn't to be an X's and O's coach. He's there to promote the program, to recruit, and to build the image of Colorado football. And I think he has done that extremely well.
Well, I think he's built the image, and he continues to work on the overall chemistry of the team. And, you're bringing in new talent and stuff. But I came across, every once in a while I'm flipping through these YouTube shorts, and Colorado posted this yesterday, and I just can't help but love the guy. I mean, he's in the middle of a quarterback battle between Kaden Salter and Julian Lewis. One's a transfer, one's a true freshman. He's gone out and he's brought in some running back talent. Went and got a running back out of Ohio State that I expect big things from. He also went and got a running back out of the transfer portal in DeKalon Taylor that was a 1,000-yard rusher last year. But he sets a standard. I thought this audio was interesting, and I want to get your thoughts on it. This is Deion Sanders just addressing the character of a team.
If I see you with slides on campus, it's going to be a problem.
Whoa.
If I see you with a hoodie on in class or some headphones on in class, it's going to be a problem. If I see you sitting in the back of the classroom, it's going to be a problem. Do we understand that? No.
Like, Deion is not letting things slide.
No pun intended.
Maybe a pun intended. But
yeah.
He's not letting things slide. He's keeping the standard. He's tough on these kids. He's got high expectations. So,
I mean, he said the same thing when he got the job. He's staying consistent with that, and I think that's. I mean, you've mentioned this way before you even heard that, and I always look at this as a barometer for how you feel about a guy as a coach. I'll always ask you, would you let Rock play for him?
Yeah.
And you say, and you've said forever, absolutely yes.
Yeah, I would. I'd send him to Deion. I actually think that Deion's history leads people to believe one thing, but as I see these kids grow, and I've seen the program be successful. Now, BYU smacked them down a couple months back. They just embarrassed them a couple months back. I think we're going to see what kind of character Deion has and what kind of character his team has in that Big 12 opener against BYU.
Yeah.
When BYU's got to go to Boulder. I think that thing was set up purposefully, and I think that's a great opener. And I would expect Kalani to understand what Deion's about and know that he's going to get Deion's best in that opener. And it's one reason that I've spent more time on Colorado, because it's the first Big 12 game that I'm preparing to call for. And I look at comments like that coming from Deion. I look at the talent that Deion's bringing in. He's brought in multiple SEC talent. He's brought in a lot of guys that have had a lot of success in years past, and he just continues to build his program. And I can't overlook Colorado in this conference.
No, you can't. And I look at, if this year he gets 8 to 9 wins, then he's 100% the real deal. Like after losing Shedeur, after losing Travis Hunter, and being able to build a team that can still win and win at a high level, I think if he pulls that off, then it's like, all right, I'm 1,000% sold. Because anybody can coach with high-level talent.
Yeah.
But when you lose that talent, how do you respond?
One thing that has me almost sold before wins and losses this year is the fact that he's coming back.
Yeah.
Because I really thought that he'd leave with his boys. He didn't just lose one boy. He lost both his boys off that team. And I kind of felt like he'd go with the boys and hand it over to whoever he wanted to hand it over to. And then watch Colorado flop and fail until they have to fire that coach and hire a whole new staff. That's kind of where I thought this thing was headed. So the fact that his boys left and he stayed, and stayed through a cancer scare, stayed through constant health concerns, He's stayed through it. There's some reason he's staying.
It's not the money. I mean, the money's nice.
Yeah, but he doesn't
need it.
He just doesn't need it. And he set the standard. I mean, he just built and formed a Heisman Trophy winner. He could leave the college coaching game and say, yeah, my kids are done, I'm done. And people would understand. Like, it's Deion Sanders. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. He doesn't need the attention. He doesn't need to be Colorado's savior. He's already done that. He rebuilt the fanfare and the love affair for Colorado football. He could leave and be like, well, whatever happens now happens. I've already done it. But he didn't. He fought through cancer. He's fought through constant health issues. And he's back. So he's back for a reason. He's not back to lose. That's why I circle this and I'm like, I hear stuff like that still coming out of the program because I think that this is pretty recent.
Yeah. I mean, it's reiterating things he's been saying for a long time.
And I do not want to I just don't want to overlook Colorado at this point.
Did Rock wear a lot of slides?
No.
Really?
No, I wouldn't let him wear slides to school.
So I need to put the kibosh on that.
The thing is I had to accept the sweats.
Yeah.
But I couldn't let the sweats and slides go. So I did make him wear shoes.
Because my kid's a big shorts and slides guy. And, I don't know whether after hearing that and now after hearing you.
I could not get my kid in a pair of jeans.
I know. Same.
Couldn't do it. And it drove me nuts.
I like how they call them joggers now. No, they're sweats. Come on. They are what they are.
So what I ended up doing was making him wear shoes. And he ended up ordering something called a Hey Dude, which was really questionable on if that's an actual shoe. Do you have Hey Dudes on? That's a Hey Dude.
Hey Dudes.
Yep.
Okay. That looks like something Jake Scott would wear.
Yeah. Yep. And so it was like, I looked at my son like, you really push the envelope. So now you got sweats and Hey Dudes on. It still looks real sloppy to me.
Yeah.
But then what are you supposed to do, man? Like, how insistent do you get?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should be putting up a fight on the slides.
I don't think my dad was gone in the mornings well before. My dad would leave 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Every morning. My entire life.
Yeah.
He was always gone before I woke up. My entire life. Your dad probably the same.
Oh, yeah.
Because, your dad's running a lot of ranching responsibility, so he's probably gone before the sun comes up. So you and I grew up in a father situation where their work ethic was all an example to us.
Yes.
It was like, we don't even need to tell you. So I don't think my dad ever recognized anything that I ever put on for school, but I knew my mom wasn't going to deal with it. So I put on pants and shoes.
Yeah, I never wore shorts to school.
But what's funny is Deion Sanders looking at his guys like, we're not doing – if you're in slides, if you got a hoodie and you're throwing headphones – I'm seeing guys on campus. We're watching you.
Yeah. Because Deion says if I see you wearing slides, Deion's not going to see anybody wearing slides because there's no way Deion's walking that campus. But I guarantee there's a bunch of graduate assistants that's keeping track of dudes. And I like how, somebody hears that audio and they're like, if I catch you wearing slides, and the guy's like, whoa.
Yeah, the first thing.
What?
The first thing, what?
I mean, hoodie, fine, whatever. But slides, come on.
The more I get to know Deion, the more I have a lot of love and respect for him.
Yeah.
The way he took the whooping in the Alamo Bowl.
And talked about Kalani at great length.
The way he had all of his team playing. Nobody quit on him.
Nope.
Now, they got handled. Scotty, I think about that game all the time. Like, I've got the good moments and the bad moments in my broadcasting for BYU. The bad moments are pick six, and bad moments are an inside throw against Arizona State and crowd rushing. Like, there's some bad moments. The good moments was the complete dismantling of a Heisman Trophy winner.
And frankly, it probably would have been better for Shedeur not to have played in that game.
I think so.
I don't think that it gets him into the first or second round, but he may not slide to the fifth if he doesn't look as bad as he does against BYU and then gets caught on camera saying, I don't know what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
And not only did he play poorly, he acted befuddled on the sideline, which didn't help him at all.
Yeah, which, just keep your mouth quiet. Every quarterback would have been befuddled in that moment.
Yeah.
Every quarterback at that level. It would have been like, what is happening? This is a Ferris wheel of calls. I don't know. What are you doing? It was a masterpiece defensively.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't have said a word. He should have just been like, oh, yeah, well,
we'll get it.
I eventually figured it out, or just not say a word. But it was something to see. And I can't help but think Deion Sanders, with who he is, who he's brought in, his coaching staff, they're looking at that Big 12 opener, and they're like, we will not lose to them. They're coming here. They'll be in our house. We'll make it uncomfortable, miserable. We'll keep our mouth shut because that's what big gamers do. We'll keep our mouth shut, but they're going to pay a price when they come here to Boulder.
What you may have missed straight ahead, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Number one.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of What You May Have Missed right here on the Zone.
I think that we all owe Malik Beasley a big apology.
Do we? Or does he have good lawyers?
Well, let's just put it this way. Steve Haney and Mike Scatcher, who are his attorneys, made a statement that he is no longer a target in this federal gambling investigation.
Nope.
This is wild. To have a federal investigation, to have all these videos surface of these allegations of betting and swaying the outcomes of games or performances, and then to have it all dropped. I don't think good attorneys can do this. I think if the investigation were to find that Malik Beasley actually gambled or bet, I think that they would have got to this. I think. Here's a quote. An allegation with no charge, indictment, or conviction should never have the catastrophic consequences that this has caused Malik. This has literally been the opposite of the presumption of innocence.
Oh, jeez.
So the reason I'll back away and offer the apology, and it's not like you and I condemned him, but when these charges were dropped and the videos surfaced of him open stepping and allowing.
What would you rather be known for, throwing games or just being really bad defensively?
I mean, I'll take the bad defensively, but I know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
But we've already seen Jonte Porter banned from the league for life. When these investigations find any proof, they're showing that they will ban you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that they will charge you. So I there's a part of me, Scotty, that believes good attorneys wouldn't be able to get the NBA or federal investigators off your back until they knew. I could be wrong. But don't you feel like it's a pretty pressing and important item right now in the NBA?
I do. I just have a hard time after watching that video, having a hard time believing that he wasn't involved in some way, shape, or form. And maybe there's a back channel deal where he sold out people to get them to, because again, they didn't say he's innocent.
Just no longer a point of the investigation.
He's not a point of the investigation. And so there's just so many back channel conversations that could have been had. And they're like, look, if you let us know who this guy is, and if you can give us some help in getting to this dude, maybe I've just watched too many Law and Orders throughout the years. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I still feel like something dirty is going on here.
Okay, so I think that the tell sign is going to be if a team signs him.
Yes, there you go. Great point.
So if Milwaukee re-signs him or if another team picks him up, I think that's an indicator of a GM, a coach, an organization believing that he's completely innocent and could be helpful to a roster. If he is blacklisted and we never hear or see of him ever again in the NBA, then I'm going to start to think, okay.
Yeah.
He pointed the fingers in a couple of directions, and he got the heat off of him, but the NBA knows it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got 10-1 odds that that's the case. But
yeah, now you're going to be under federal investigation.
Hans and Scotty right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.